What's going on, everyone? Talon back here, and today I wanted to make a video on everything you need to know about Super Battle Road and Extreme Super Battle Road. All right, so for 95% of you, probably this is not really going to be very helpful for you, especially this first half of the video. The first half I'm going to be talking about what Super Battle Road is, explaining how the stages work and everything, and then we're going to get into some tactics and what kind of cards to bring, what can really help you and everything. Especially because global, you now have Extreme Super Battle Road, so I do want to talk about it as well. So there are going to be timestamps down below in the description. Again, I'm going to repeat, timestamps in the description for parts of this video and things that will help you depending on what type of player you are. And the reason I want to be going into the very early parts of Super Battle Road and just simply what it is because we always have to remember there are new players coming into this game. And I have seen comments over the years where it's just like, what exactly is Super Battle Road? I've only just started about a month or two ago. Can I take this event on? Should I be taking this event on? And all that kind of fun stuff. So that is why I'm doing this. All right. So again, if this very beginning of the video is kind of like, dude, I already know this stuff. I've been playing the game for years. Then yeah, you don't need to listen to this part of the video. Just go down in the description below, or again, on the time bar, you should see some slots in there saying what the next topic is and topic, and then you'll be able to go from that. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the ultimate guide for Super Battle Road. All right, so the first question is, what in the world is Super Battle Road? Well, my friends, Super Battle Road has a very, very weird history, to say the least. It has not always had the best reputation. I think to this day that has still carried 3 years after it initially released. When this event originally came out, it was literally coined the whale mode. I remember back in the days, everyone was just like, what the is this event? All right. And to be fair, some of the criticism was there way back in the days. I mean, this was back in the days when the ability system was not even introduced / just being introduced. Things like skill orbs weren't even in the planning stages yet. And things like LRs that could just one-shot everything for you weren't really a thing. They really weren't. So it had a bad reputation at the very beginning when it came out. And thankfully over time, as more cards have come out, a lot of free-to-play options have come out, it's hopefully not looked at as bad, especially the first couple set of stages, right? So Super Battle Road essentially is just it doesn't cost any stamina to go into. It is end game content though, all right? If you have just been playing for about a month or two, you cannot even access this mode. In order to access this mode, I believe you have to be level 150 in order to even access this, okay? So first off, all your characters, at least the ones that you use on your main teams, not teams, then they all need to be awakened. They need to be level 120 or 150 if they're an LR, and they need to at least have the free ability system buffs, all right? So in the ability system, even if you don't have any dupes, at least having the 2000 base that every single character gets in this game, make sure they all have that no matter what. All right. If you have that and you have your guys, leveled up and you have proper teams made for certain either categories or typings, then you can take this event on. All right. This is how it works. There are 4 sets of stages for normal Super Battle Road. And at the time of this recording, there are 2 sets of Extreme Super Battle Road stages, at least on JP. And then this is how it goes. All right. So first off, the first set of 10 stages is all typing. So for example, if you take on the Extreme AGL stage, you have to bring Super Tech. If you take on the Super STR, then you have to bring Extreme AGL. That's how it works. The game will not let you enter the stage unless you have those particular type of characters. Doesn't matter what characters you have, as long as they are that typing, or when we get into categories, they are that category. That's just how it works. All right. So this is how basically every single stage is set up for in terms of the typing. Category is 1 less stage, but again, I'll get into that in a second. Type Super Battle Road stages. There are 4 main bosses that you take on. I'm going to call them bosses essentially. And it is all randomized the moment you enter the stage for who you're going to fight. One time you can enter Super Battle Road and you can fight off against Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz, for example, if you're taking on the extreme side of things, or you can face off against Android 19 and 20. It's all random. All right. It doesn't really make that much of a difference aside from a few things, which we'll get into a little bit here in a second. But overall, that's just how it works. All right. When you beat one set of bosses, you go on to the next one, you go on to the next one, and you go on to the next one, and then you're done. The prizes and stuff that you get at the end are going to be dragon stones. They're going to be a potential copy of an LR, depending on how many times you've potentially beaten it. And you're also going to get this little exchange trophy, which you then go into the Baba shop, and you can get Grand Kai's, Hercule statues, whatever you want to exchange. All right. By the way, huge shout out for organizing all of this in terms of the Dokkan wiki here. Links will be down in the description below. If you don't want to listen to me ramble and you just want to go check this out, that's all you have to do. All right. They even have rewards, missions, and then they even have some tactics in order to take things on. I'm going to have my own tactics later on in the video, but if you just want to get strictly down to it, you can go and check the deal out if you want to as well. All right. Now, the way with Super Battle Road, how it works in terms of like, who should I be attacking? How should I be priorities and all that stuff? Again, we're going to get into that in the tactics part, but I do want to make one little thing about just how the bosses work themselves, okay? When you enter into an event, generally the character at the end of all the characters that you're facing off against on the right side of the screen, that is the character with the least amount of health. And the general tactic way back in the day when these OG Super Battle Road stage came out was to go for the person who had the least amount of health, and you worked your way to the left. Okay, so for example, if you're facing off against the Bardock team here, you want to go for Shugesh, then you want to go to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. That's how you generally want to do it. Over time, however, there is a good sense sometimes, though, to go for the person who's attacking the most. And generally, that is the person on the left. So the way that you see the characters here on the screen, this is how they appear on your game screen. Bardock's always going to be on the left, and then Shugesh is always going to be on the right. That's just how it works. But Bardock is the one who attacks the most out of all those characters. Same thing with like Krillin. And then actually, funny enough, this is where they switched up a bit, where if you get Hercule, Videl, and Boo is the one attacking the most, and actually Boo has the most HP, so they tend to switch it up on you a little bit, all right? And the way you get to know this is just simply by playing the mode over and over again. And I know some people don't do that. They play it once and they're done, and that's totally fine. But if you're somebody who goes back in and you likes to see if maybe you can beat your time or really see if you can use no items or anything like that, this is how you just get to know that stuff. You just know automatically in the back of your head, boom, this is what's happening, boom, this is what's happening. But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to get used to that. And it took, most of us who've been playing this game for years upon years, I don't know, it definitely took us a few months to just get used to everything and then to also just remember it, right? I mean, if you don't play something for a long time and then you come back to it and you go, right, I forgot Bardock attacks like 5 times and Shugesh has the least amount of health or something like that, right? If you haven't touched in a while, you're going to forget that kind of stuff. Just generally how life itself goes, all right? So that's how the characters go and everything. One tactic I always like to go for is the character that usually attacks the most. I generally go for personally. Again, it can still be made for an argument to say, hey, I want to attack the person with the least amount of health. That way I've already got one guy done. That's one less super attack to worry about and all that kind of stuff. But for me personally, I do like to go for the person who attacks the most and just get them out of the way, because once they're gone, you can handle the rest of them, unless you just get super unlucky. And that is one thing I want to point out right now before we move on to Extreme Super Battle Road is sometimes you're just going to get unlucky in this mode. You are going to pop into the battle. You're going to have all 5 attacks before you even get 1 attack off, and 4 of them are going to be super attacks, and things are just not going to go your way. Your character's not going to dodge. Your item, doesn't matter if you use an item or anything, you're going to die. That's just the way it's going to happen. So you have to accept that sometimes Super Battle Road luck, it ain't with you. But again, it doesn't cost stamina or anything. So guess what? You can go right in. Now, it can be a little annoying trying to find friends, especially with the broken friend system for normal Super Battle Road, where it's like, hey, I just found an STR cooler. I found a Rainbow Gohan or something like that. And then you die, and then you try to go back in, and all you're finding is, the special guest that the game gives you, which has, only SA10, no ability system buffs, no dupes, nothing. You're sitting there going, well, F it, I guess, right? You're not really going to do that. So that's you have to accept that that's going to happen. And hopefully if you've got some friends that have, cards that you can use to take this on, then you can be like, oh, hey guys, can you set this for me real quick? Thank you. And then unfortunately, if you use them up, you have to wait until, the following time. But the nice thing is sometimes though, is that you can go into the event, automatically, exit out of it, just quit it before even trying it. And then the friend system will refresh. It's not the greatest system, and it's not, again, a good way, but it's better than nothing, I guess. So just keep that in mind, that if you're trying to find a good friend for any of these stages, whether it's the typing, whether it's the categories, all that stuff, that you can do that. You can refresh this friend system essentially, okay? And one last final thing I do want to mention is that a lot of these, as they've been out, a lot of these can be done free to play. At the time of this recording, every single typing normal Super Battle Road stage can be done free to play. You farm up cards, you get, you know, their SS to the 10, you rainbow them because they're free to play. You can beat every single one of these free to play by bringing a good friend summonable units, because why handicap yourself? And you can take these all on. And so that automatically starts to make all of these LRs that you can get from these events free to play, right? Because some of these, at least one of them can be beaten, which means there's always a mission in all of these normal Super Battle Road stages where if you beat it 20 times, you get the free to play LR. All right. And then again, over time, you're going to get them more and more copies and you'll be able to rainbow them eventually. Most of these guys are trophies, but in my personal opinion, I like the Goku the best because he's a support unit. So he's the one that you get from this first set of category Super Battle Road stages. And he's really good. This Goku right here. Really, really good card. All right. So that's normal Super Battle Road in a nutshell. That's essentially what it is. It's endgame content. You should not be jumping into this event until you have summoned a decent amount. You've at least, or gone in and gotten a bunch of free-to-play units and at least got them all up to level 120. You've gotten your account up to 150 and all that kind of fun stuff. Then you take on this event. That's how it works. All right. This is endgame content. Do not try to take this on if you're a brand new player. All right. Then you jump into the next sets, which is like getting that next steroid shot, because this is Extreme Super Battle Road. It's literally taking the OG Super Battle Road stages and just amping it up, all right? So if you thought that OG, you know, Super AGL or, you know, anything like that was super hard, now guess what? This just cranks it up to 11, all right? The way that the cards have been, the power gap and just the categories and the boosts and everything that you get from a lot of these cards now, for the most part, the early stages of normal Super Battle Road, they're a cakewalk. They really are. The first 10 stages all done free to play to these days. And probably the second set is for the most part free to play, aside from like Shadow Dragons and things like that. But again, I digress. Extreme Super Battle Road, not the case. All right. Now the thing with Extreme Super Battle Road is that it doesn't actually give you a free to play LR. As of right now, it simply has EZA'd the LR prizes from the OG Super Battle Road stages. So the first 10 Super Battle Road stages right here got you the free to play Gohan. The Extreme Super Battle Road stages got you the Awakening medals to then get the Gohan to his EZA, which this Gohan definitely needed it. Not so much for the Goku now that we currently have on JP. All right. So all Extreme Super Battle Road is just amping up the HP, the amount of damage that the opponents do to you, and you have to beat them pretty fast. It's pretty challenging. It really is, especially when it all first came out, right? Over time, though, as I stated before, some of these stages can be done free to play already, or no items, or however you potentially want to try taking this on, right? As of this recording at September 19th, 2020 here in Japan, all of the Extreme Super Battle Road stages, they're not done free to play yet, but some of them have been done free to play or with no items. For example, taking a Super STR team, unless I pass it, yeah, taking an STR team, a Super STR team into here, if you have the right characters, again, because it's free to play, you can beat this free to play. I've done it before. It's on my channel. You can take it on. It's really actually not that bad. Or another one is one that can be done with no items. You can take an extreme team, which does require summonable units, but with the powers of someone like EZA Omega Shenron and other cards, it can be done no items because you are lowering their attack constantly, which again, we're getting into more of the tactics side of the video. And that's just how it works. That's just, yeah, it is. One thing to note though, when it comes to the Extreme Super Battle Road stage is that when this was released on JP, at least back then, it was pretty apparent that Super AGL in terms of typing was the best team and Super AGL was the hardest. And to this day is, I would personally say, the hardest of all the Extreme Super Battle Road stages. The reason I say that, and a lot of people are probably going to say Extreme Tech, so taking your own Extreme Tech stage or team into Super AGL stage is harder, is because that team is more limiting. Not necessarily harder, it's just more limiting. A lot of people don't summon for the extreme characters, let alone try to get the Extreme Tech characters. So that is why a lot of people will say that, all right? You can argue whichever side you want. I'm just simply stating what the facts essentially, all right? But it is without a doubt that if you try to take on or use your own Super AGL team against the Extreme STR stage, they hit hard. So guys like LR Gohan, LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, those guys will get hit hard. They really will, all right? And that's where obviously items come in to help you, but even then, they still take a lot of damage compared to normal Super Battle Road and obviously every other event in the game, all right? So I'm just saying, You gotta be careful. You really do. All right. And in the introduction of the category Extreme Super Battle Road stages, they've even amped up the difficulty even more. Super and Extreme are not too terrible, I would say. I need to try out some other teams to confirm that. But things like Fusion and Shadow Dragons, those are already very limiting teams as they are. You still get hit hard. Not to mention, they actually changed the typing in these events. So the original Super Battle Road stages, you know, again, typing and typing is the same. But when you went into category, they actually changed up the category. So for example, both of these guys right here are tech on the Fusion enemies, but now it's tech and STR. So you got to be careful at what characters you are bringing in, where you're placing them, just, you know, as FYI. All right. And then another team, which was considered really easy for free to play, which is the Peppy Gals side. Peppy Gals takes a long time to go through, and you really got to make sure you've got some good characters on here. Not you don't necessarily need like the LR, Kale, and Khalifa or anything, but Peppy Gals to this day, still the best lead you have is a 120 lead. And these guys got a lot of HP and they can hit hard. So if you are not, you know, making sure that you are targeting the right character to lower their attack, seal them, stun them, or anything like that, you're going to die even with items. You will. It's just going to happen. So you've got to be careful when it comes to taking on these category Super Battle Road stages. But again, like I said at the very beginning, this is end game content. If you're trying to take this on before trying to do other stages or anything else, then you're going to die no matter what. You're never going to beat it. That's just how it's going to work. All right. So with all that info being said, I'm going to hop on over to the game now, and we're going to check out some little tips and tricks and things that I can give to you as somebody who has done a lot of content on Super Battle Road and trying different teams, free to play, pay to play, however you want to say it. But I've done a lot of videos on it. So I think I'm qualified to give you at least some objective opinions and some tips and tricks on how to take this stuff on. Maybe you do have to use an item because, oh no, you have to use an item in Super Battle Road, but that's just the way it is. So without further ado, let's get on over to the game. All right, guys, so here we are. We're on the title screen of Super Battle Road. We're gonna start with the normal Super Battle Road, then we're gonna go to Extreme Super Battle Road, but I wanna go over kind of just some general thoughts that you should be using when it comes to taking on certain stages, aside from, do I have the characters in the category or the typing to take this on? You know, again, very basic stuff that most people should understand when it comes to Super Battle Road. Let's just jump right in. All right. So there's gonna obviously be a lot of cuts, probably just, you know, showing gameplay, me talking, that kind of stuff. All right. But one of the first things I want to talk about is the OG typing Super Battle Road. Like I stated before at the very beginning of the video, all of these can be done free to play. They really can. If you've been able to farm up some of the free-to-play units, or again, if you've played for a few months, you know, and events have come back and you farmed up certain characters, a lot of them have gotten easy A's now, even to this day, you can take these on generally for the most part. And if you decide not to take it on free-to-play and you want to use your summonable cards, which you totally can, guess what? It's going to make it even easier, right? So for an example, though, one thing is going to be something like, let's just take on, actually, let's take our super physical... let's take on super physical with extreme STR. All right, because I want to highlight exactly what this means. All right, so for some reason, oh, it's because of the team. Oh, sorry, I'm picking the wrong side. I can't even read my own. I can't read the kanji apparently. I'm that tired. So I want physical. There we go. I saw physical and super and extreme and everything like that. Okay, so this is generally what it looks like when it originally came out. All right, and they gave you this kind of whatever friend card to say, hey, you can take it on with this guy. And sure, you can nowadays because there's a lot more powerful cards, but back in the day, you did not want to touch these little friend cards. Okay, you know, SDR Janu is good, not the greatest. He's gonna get his EZA soon, but back in the days, he really wasn't that good. So anyway, bottom line, what you do though is you want to pick a friend, and the way you want to try picking your friend is obviously the more dupes the better. That's going to help you, but also what does the character bring to the team, right? A lot of people, as you can see, love to still run STR Broly, and that's mostly for the world tournament and everything. And to a degree, though, on this normal Super Battle Road stage, STR Broly can't help because he's got an area of an effect to his essay, right? And if you guys remember, you're usually facing off against 2 or more opponents on type Super Battle Road. Category Super Battle Road, you're going to face off against 1 opponent. You definitely want to be running STR Broly. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. But for this, if you get lucky enough, again, that luck factor comes in where, hey, guess what? You know, if Broly's not getting attacked and you get a super attack off with him and he gets the additional super attack off automatically via his passive and maybe even a triple in the ability system, you're going to wipe out probably half the board depending on how many characters you face. Because again, if you have, the more characters you have, the less HP all of them have. And the fewer characters you have, the way more HP they have. So Broly back then is a good option, and for normal Super Battle Road, he still is a good option. But one thing to always start considering is, what do they do when they're passive? What does their leader skill do? And also, what does their SA do? So for example, one character that a lot of people like to bring in terms of maybe like transformation boost category, Super Battle Road stage, or extreme STR, like what we're having here, is someone like STR Cooler or someone like Full Power Frieza, where they give a good boost in terms of their leader skill, but their SAs also do other things. So for example, Cooler here allows you to lower the attack on his I almost said 12 key super attack, on his super attack. He's not an LR, all right? And that's one thing Super Battle Road allows you to do that pretty much most other endgame content does not allow you to do. Legendary Goku event, Infinite Dragon Ball History event, you cannot lower the enemy's attack. You just can't. And so it doesn't help you bringing in characters unless you basically cheese it and stack all the way up, essentially. Super Battle Road, on the other hand, things like lowering attack, mitigating damage, and just lowering the enemy's defense and attack just by being there without even a super attack is really, really beneficial to take these events on and make it easy on yourself. And if you're somebody who doesn't like to waste your items, even though you're supposed to use your items, you don't have to use your items, all right? So when Cooler gets a super attack off here, he lowers the enemy's attack, and that lasts into the next turn, right? And if you get double super attacks, you're essentially greatly lowering their attack. And there are obviously other characters that simply just greatly lower the enemy's attack when they get their super attack off. And that helps a lot. You'll take a lot less damage. And especially if your units are rainbow, they're definitely going to take even less damage because they have more defense, right? And then another thing with Cooler is that he supports certain characters if they're in a category. So if you take this event on and I bring somebody who is in the Conquest of Terrors category, Cooler's giving them 50% attack and defense as long as they face it off against 2 or more opponents, which, hey, by the way, that's what Super Battle Road mostly does. And if you get him down to 1 opponent, he still supports transformation boost, and if that character is in both categories, he's still going to boost them. So that's just something to keep in mind right there. Not to mention that support that he's given to the team, he's given to himself, which is more attack and defense. And again, if you get some doubles off, you're even going to lower the attack even more and everything. And if you transform him, that's even better. He can deal a lot of damage. He's auto-critting against half sands and pure sands, which are a lot of them in this game. And that's just how it works. Another card that a lot of people will overlook sometimes is going to be somebody like, SR cards that have awoken finally into URs, not TURs, but into URs. A lot of people tend to overlook them. But for example, if you want to bring someone like the Evil Boo here, I cannot stress how good this Evil Boo card is, all right? I know he's a UR card, he's level 100, he's just a simple SR card that you pull from the banner and everything, but there are some of these gems from the banners that you can use. Not all of them. There are a lot of them that are still garbage and you baba them or you throw them into SA food and that's all you do with them. But characters like this are really, really helpful because they do multiple things that can help, and you can just throw them off rotation. You don't need to have them on rotation. You can keep them on rotation if you want to, but you do not have to have them on rotation. So for example, Boo here will seal the enemy's attack when he gets a super attack off. Okay, so that's really good. He's going to seal him, which means his enemy cannot super attack you, and you're good to go. Next, what he does is he lowers the enemy's attack by 20% just by being there. Automatically, the enemy's attack has been lowered, and it's really, really helpful because if you've lowered the enemy's attack via, another card's super attack, and then this guy's lowering their attack just by being there, all the enemy's attack is just going down, and they can't do anything to you. It just works out really well. And not to mention, he has a medium chance to dodge. Now, quick side note on dodging here. You guys know me. I am not somebody who likes to have to rely on dodge, because there are times where it will work and your character will dodge all incoming attacks and you survive and you're like, haha, that was easy. And there are other times where dodge is not activated at all and you just get slaughtered across the screen and you have to go back to the beginning. That's just how it works. So some people really like dodge, some people don't. That's just the way it is. Me personally, I don't like to rely on it, but if you have it and I can also lower your attack or I can use an item or something, then hey, guess what? It's extra insurance essentially. That's how it works. All right. So this is why with this character, he's not an attacker. He's not meant to deal high damage or anything. But what he does is lowers the attack. He helps the team out. He seals, and he just works really well off rotation. And if you want to keep him on rotation, you can, because there are a lot of good physical Boo units that can be linked up with this guy. And he can deal some decent damage, and you can also buff up the other Boos, because especially with the link update, boosts hit hard now, especially if you get them up to like level 5 to level 10 links. Works out really well. All right, so mine is only level 1 for everything, but regardless, it doesn't matter. He still kicks butt. He still does amazing stuff. So that's just something to keep in mind right there. So what I want to do now is I want to go into a stage and I want to show you, generally what type of teams I like to make and what items I like to bring as well. All right. Okay, so I've decided to take on Super AGL using the Extreme Tech team because this, again, was ridiculed back in the day where very few people could beat it. So there's 2 ways you can go about this, by the way, okay? You don't have to bring a leader that only leads a type, right? So for example, if I'm taking on Super AGL and I need Extreme Tech, I don't need to only bring a character's leader skill that literally says you will lead the Extreme Tech types. I can bring another character if I want to that happens to have a category in it if I want to. And as long as there are enough of that typing for this stage, guess what? I can do that. So for example, if I want to, I can bring this Boo friend here and I can say, okay, so I can only use Extreme Tech, which is going to be this. And it has to be within the Majin Buu power category or the Majin power category and the artificial life form category. All right. And guess what? There are my characters. Now, it's obviously a lot less characters than simply saying, I want to take Extreme Tech, which generally, you'll have more of. But this is another option that if you're already limited, you can say, hey, it's way more limiting, but the category gives a much bigger boost and can generally make it more easier sometimes. So for example, if I want to use my own Boo, I want to use a free-to-play card. I want to use this Boo. I want to use this Cell who's free-to-play. We'll take this Cell because he's old, and I'll take this Android 17 just because I want to, right? Something like that. So this is generally what a team could look like for me. I can make it a lot better if I want to. I can make it more free-to-play friendly. If I was doing more of something like saying bring, the Tech Golden Frieza, who is a very good card to have in here. But again, we're on normal Super Battle Road, not Extreme Super Battle Road. We'll get into that bit in a little bit, all right? But I can do something like this if I want to. They're all under Boo's category, and so they're going to have major boosts and everything, which is really, really helpful. Now, generally, items I like to bring on normal Super Battle Road is going to be a combo of defense items and items that do multiple things, all right? There are going to be obviously items like Nurse Chi-Chi here if you want to bring, which will lower the enemy's attack immensely for 1 turn, and that can be very helpful in some of these earlier stages. But for me personally, the reason I don't bring Nurse Chi-Chi a lot, I sometimes do, but sometimes I don't, is simply because it only works for 1 turn. And if I know this is going to go on for multiple turns, I want to bring something that's going to benefit me for at least 2, maybe even 3 turns. Most items only go 2 turns, but you get the idea. All right. So generally what I like to do is I like to bring either something like an Icarus or a Whis if I want to. Depending on how difficult the stage is, I'll bring both of them or I'll only bring 1. I like to bring this Future Bulma item for the older Super Battle Road stages or just the normal Super Battle Road stages because while she doesn't provide any defense ability, she heals me and she increases my attack for 2 turns, which is really nice. Android 8 is the opposite of the Future Bulma item because he raises our defense for 2 turns and he heals us, which is really nice. And then you can also do something like this Princess Snake item here, which is only for 1 turn, but she mitigates damage for you and she heals you. So again, double effect there. It's only for 1 turn, but it's double effect right there. All right. So that's generally how I like to go about with the items. And especially for the older stages, if I want to, I can just do something like, I really don't need this. I can just say, okay, I'm going to be Future Bulma. I'm going to bring this. I'll bring 1 defensive item with Icarus. And then I'm also going to do, something like this Bulma item, because it's all about raising my attack. And I just want to just, scream through it really fast or something like that if I want to. Another item that's actually really good sometimes if I don't want to use it is I'll bring the Rat item because it lowers the enemy's attack for 2 turns by 40%, I believe. Is it 40%? It's either 40. Yeah, it's 40%, which is really nice. Not mitigation, but you're still lowering the enemy's attack just by using the item, which is really nice. All right. So that's generally how I want to go about with items for me personally. There's also the Ghost item if you want to bring it. That definitely helps as well. Especially with that luck factor. If you get unlucky, you can go ahead and do that. King Yemma, which works for 1 turn, but again, really, really helpful. So it really all depends on what you want to do. So I want to go into here and I want to show you guys kind of what the damage you're going to take when it comes to this kind of stuff. How much you want to factor in, is somebody lowering their attack? Are they a nuker? So for example, the Cell here, he's a nuker. So if I give him more orbs, he's going to help out really well. And obviously having links activated can be really helpful. Because for example, like this right here, if I got that Big Bad Bosses up to level 10, that's an additional 25% attack and defense that really actually does make a difference in some of these harder stages. And for example, because I have a support unit here, Cell, he's given attack and defense plus 25%. I believe it's 25%. let me just double check right here, 30% attack and defense to my allies on this team. And so automatically you can even go and check the numbers right here and everything. And I know that the Boo friend is going to mitigate damage. So I'm not going to use an item. I just want to show you guys what no item looks like. And then if I use an item, he's obviously going to take way less damage, but let's just take a gander here. So again, like I stated before in the beginning of the video, generally the person on the left or the right side of the screen has less HP, but there are times where it's better to take care of the guy on the left or maybe in the center or on the right because they're attacking the most. So with that being said, I'm going to attack Boo. So I'm going to use this. It's overkill. And then with Cell being a nuker unit, I want to make sure I give him a good amount of orbs. So I'm going to give him that right there. And then Cell already, the support one, it doesn't really matter if I get a super attack off or not, but it just really helps. So now on this team, again, it's normal super battle road and I'm not taking that much damage. But again, I'm also utilizing the fact that I'm using a strong category lead on this compared to using the 120 on there. And hey, some additionals kick in, right? Again, a lot of it's luck based. But if an additional attack kicks in, Boo's going to go bye-bye probably. Close to bye-bye. So Cell's going to finish him off if he hasn't been finished off already. Yep, so bye-bye. There he goes, right? So Hercule's getting an attack in. 69. Back in the day, that would have been like 150 probably. And Extreme Super Battle, that's essentially what it is. So hopefully this gives you an idea of what it looks like. So what I want to do is I want to show you what a weaker attack looks like. So I'm going to purposely do this right here. I'm going to let this Super 17 get hits. Who, by the way, all he really does is give himself a 20% attack. He's got very little defense. Let's see how much damage he takes. We'll go with that. And for Cell, we'll go with that. All right. We have a lot of HP and a big boost, but let's see what he takes. 39k. That's still a lot of damage. This is going to be a lot of damage right here as well. See, 117k because I didn't factor in that, hey, I didn't use an item. He doesn't really bring anything aside from orb change. And that's the whole reason I would personally bring this card in the first place. Would I keep him on rotation? No, he'd be off rotation all the time. And I would have let the big fat buff Boo take that attack on instead. That's personally what I would have done. So you have to start looking at it as like, okay, what do these characters do? What do their ability systems do and everything like that? How many orbs am I giving them? And how am I also setting up my orbs for the next rotation? Because sometimes if you have somebody on the next rotation that can maybe heal you a little bit via how many orbs they collect, or you want to make sure they get a super attack off so they greatly raise their defense, you're going to want to do that, essentially. All right. Now, let's take a look at what my Boo can do, assuming we don't finish Videl off here. But my Boo is only 1 dupe compared to the Boo that you saw beforehand that had 3 dupes. Let's see how much damage, assuming, again, that we don't finish her off. But let's see how much damage he takes if she either super attacks or just a normal attack. Now, obviously, Exchange Boo, so we finished her off, unfortunately, really fast. So that's just the way it goes with this type of thing. Let's go and head on over to a category Super Battle Road stage where we're going to take a lot more damage, and then we'll go to Extreme Super Battle Road. All right, guys, so here we are. We're in a category Super Battle Road stage. We're on Transformation Boosts, all right? Now, the thing with Transformation Boost is automatically they're showing you, oh, you should be taking this Super Boo friend, right? The one that they give you automatically. Don't do that. Don't do that, all right? There are... Transformation Boost is one of those categories where you have the freedom to take multiple different cards, different typings if you want to, and all that stuff because the category is so huge, all right? If I wanted to, I could probably make a Transformation Boost team out of all the Boo cards because this LR Boo that's currently new to the game is the Majin Power category and the Absorption Power categories. And all the Boos are on there and all the Boos are on the Transformation category, which means I can build a team using this if I want to. So if I wanted to, I just say, okay, I'm going to use this. And this is the team that I used beforehand. None of these guys are the Transformation Boost leader, but they're all on the category. And I can just be like, all right, let's just go with it, right? And again, the Super Boo that they wanted to give you is a 150 lead across the board, which is still very good. He himself needs to be boosted. That friend one is very bad. If you have Boo at level 10, links and all, he's actually a lot better, but regardless. So with that right there, I've got a stronger lead and I can bring more cards that I potentially have, even if I don't have the category itself. That's not going to be the case for all cards, but certain categories like Future and Time Travelers, a lot of those cards intermix together. And so even if you don't have the Time Traveler category itself, a lot of the future cards are on there. You can just be like, oh, well, I can just bring the future category. That's all I have to do, right? So with this right here, if I wanted to, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to raise my defense and attack just a little bit extra on here, even though I've got a really good boost on there. I can give you this if I want to. And I know that the Buhan here is a nuker, and I want to give him all these orbs and that's going to increase his attack and defense tremendously right there, which is really, really helpful. And then the support boost is off rotation because I just simply have to have him. Okay. So that's just one thing to go right there. And if I was trying to do some kind of speed run, or, you know, if I was maybe more newer to this, what I would do then is I would go in and I'd say, okay, you know what? I'm going to activate the rat item because that's going to lower the enemy's attack by 40% for 2 turns. And now I'm basically guaranteed that they're not going to do anything to me. Even if Tien, who's an int type, super attacks the Boo, they're going to do nothing to me. Piccolo, go ahead. What you got, buddy? 50k at most? 78. Okay, so I was a little off on that, but again, still fine. Okay, so Tien, probably 100k here now. That's probably gonna be my guess. No, 124, perfectly fine. If I had not activated the rat item, he would have taken a lot more damage. So you have to remember, with category Super Battle Road, it's all about the typings now, right? You're not effective against everyone. If you're using a tech guy to block 3 int attacks, not the greatest thing to do. Another good thing about the Buhan here, he's now greatly lowered Piccolo's attack, and if Piccolo had another attack on me, he would have done a lot less damage compared to if I hadn't lowered his attack. So sometimes I might actually want to have Buhan attack somebody else and lower the attack on, say, my support unit on the end, because guess what? This is how it's going to work. So let's go ahead and give you another thing here. So we're going to attack Tien on purpose here, and I want to show you what Krillin does. Even though I have an item activated, I have support, how much damage he could potentially do to Boo, whether he gets the attack off, the super attack off or not. Let's take a gander. Double digit damage. Again, that's utilizing items, utilizing the fact that Boo is obviously really strong. I have a support unit who's also increasing my defense, and now I've raised my defense actually via my super attack, and we're probably going to one-shot Krillin if we get the crit here, but that's how it works. You have to really start looking at Dokkan in terms of Super Battle Road as more than just simply a bubble-popping game. If you utilize the super attacks, the items, even if you don't use items, your support, healing, everything, this is how it works. It makes it a lot easier when you start to look at what the categories do, what each character does, and how they function and everything. It works out really easily for you, and you can go through it. You can. So now what I want to do is I want to go over to Extreme Super Battle Road, okay? And that's where we're going to end this, and I just want to talk about a couple more things real quick. All right, so here we are. We're on Extreme Super Battle Road now, and I'm going to be taking on the super physical stage with an Extreme STR team, and I want to talk about a couple things that are not just simply, hey, I have a higher number in my leader skill, but this guy's got less, but he brings more to the team. And this is that last part that I mentioned beforehand when we were talking on the category Super Battle Road stage, where I said you need to start looking at this as more just simply a pick my team, bubble pop, and done, right? If you have obviously everything rainbowed and all that kind of fun stuff, then yeah, generally you can walk through most of this stuff, but you still have to be careful on some stages where you can die. And one of the things I want to point that out right now is this. Janemba right here is a 120 3+3 key to all extreme STR typing, okay? And it's very easy to want to say, I want to bring him because he gives me that 120 across the board no matter what. However, one argument can be made that, hey, if I say, for example, can find, assuming I can find it, unfortunately I can't find it, so I don't know, I'm just gonna pick coolers randomly for a minute here. Let's say you found Omega Shenron here as your lead. He is key +4, but he's a lower stat increase to only 100%. Now, 20 to 120 may not sound that big of a deal, and in some extent it's not. But sometimes it can make a difference, especially maybe if you're trying to free-to-play team or you don't really have that many good cards. Maybe you have to bring in extreme STR lead that's only 50%, and Omega could be your friend choice. The reason you might want to maybe take Omega over someone like the STR Janemba that's given to you is because he lowers the enemy's attack by 40% just by being there. He doesn't have to attack, nothing. Just by having Omega there, it's like having a Whis activated. The Whis item that we've all used before, having Omega there is like, I don't need to activate an item. This guy does it for me just by being there. You sometimes still have to be careful, and you know, obviously if he takes like 4 super attacks and all the attacks in one spot, yeah, that can be a bit of a bummer sometimes, but generally you're okay there. Just be like, you know what? I think I'm okay. I think we'll be okay to go here and everything like that. And that's just how it's going to work. Other characters you can definitely bring are going to be, you know, looking at characters like STR Rose, who does not have any defense, and this guy will take a lot of damage. But again, Rose lowers extreme enemies attack by 20% just by being there. And if you throw him off rotation, maybe he's a decent support unit because he gives all extreme types allies key +3, and he's lowering the super attack enemies attack by 20%. And if you have Omega and him on the same rotation, for example, guess what? He's doing a lot of good damage and everything. All right. STR Cell does the same thing if you're facing off against multiple opponents. So you have to just start to look at how it works and everything. One character I personally like to bring, again, kind of similar to the SR Evil Boo, is this free-to-play Piccolo from the World Tournament summons, all right? He lowers the enemy's attack just by being there, all right? So hopefully you guys can start to see where I'm going with this, where if you, a utilization of cards that lower attack, greatly raise their defense, you know, stun, seal, all that stuff, it makes it a lot easier for you than just simply saying, I'm gonna brute force my way through this and just bring all my top tier characters, but none of them are really doing anything to actually help the team aside from I have big attack numbers. Sometimes that does work, but sometimes it doesn't. So that's just something to keep in mind right there. So anyway, guys, I think I've pretty much covered everything in terms of how Super Battle Road works, Extreme Super Battle Road tactics, items, you know, team compositions, all that stuff. If you want, again, more in-depth details on what type of teams to bring into each particular event, again, the wiki has some good stuff. And then also my playlist up in the top right corner, all of my videos that I've recorded and everything, they're in there, all the playlists. Go check those out if you haven't already. And I know this is a long video, but I wanted to make this thorough. So anyway, guys, that is gonna be it for the video. Let me get your thoughts down below in the comments. As always, leave a like if you liked the video. Subscribe if you happen to be new. Until next time, everyone, I will see you all in the next one. Johnny.